Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Elantris. So, Elantris is a fantasy book and it is part of the Cosmere Universe, and I have only read, one series, but has like two series in the same series of that universe, and that was the Mistborn series, like Era 1 and Era 2, and I really loved both, and I am obviously wanting to continue reading the books in this universe. And so Elantris is technically like a standalone, but it has a short story called The Hope of Elantris, which I'm also going to be reading in this vlog. And there's also a novella called The Emperor's Soul, which at first I thought was like actually part of the like story of Elantris, but it is set in the same world as Elantris, but it's not like actually connected. But I also do read that novella in this reading vlog. And yeah, like I said, I was very excited to get into these books because the other books that I have read from this author and from like the same universe I had really enjoyed. So yeah, definitely very excited. And I just want to say that there are definitely spoilers in this reading vlog, and let's get into it. I am 50% into Elantris, and Elantris is a city that used to be like really beautiful because everyone who lived there, they were kind of like gods because people, like random people, would receive powers randomly. And so all those people who received the powers would go to live in Elantris and would just be Elantrians. And I think 10 years before the start of the book, something changed. And instead of those people like having powers and being like gods, it became kind of like a curse. And they're basically dead, like their body is dead, they don't have a heartbeat, and like they lose all their hair, their skin is like decaying, and they don't heal. Like if they get injured some way, they will never heal, and they will always feel like the pain of their injury, and they're always like hungry. Like no matter how much they eat, they're always hungry. And people are still like getting turned into Elantrians, but now they get turned into something awful, basically. And so Elantris is like closed off from the rest of the world. And we are following three POVs in this book. And the first person we meet is Rayoden, and he is a prince. He's a prince of the city, like right beside Elantris, and it's like the ruling city of that area. And right in the start of the book, like right in the first chapter, he becomes an Elantrian. And so he is taken to Elantris. He is thrown in there with the other people as basically a prisoner. And the king, like, and the queen, they don't tell people that their son became an Elantrian. They tell people that, like, he died. And then we start following Serene. And Serene is a princess from another kingdom. And she's going there, like to that city, to marry Rayoden. And when she gets there, she's told that he died. But the contract that they had stated that even if one of them died, they would still be legally married. So technically, like, she is married and like a widow, and she's the princess of that city. And the third character we're following is Raven, and he is like sort of a priest that came from another place and is trying to like convert the people of that city to his religion. And like he and like his whole religion, like they hate the Elantrians and they want people to see them as monsters, basically. And there is a follower of his religion who like he meets, and he's called Dilaf, and he's actually like way worse than Raven. Like he is like much more of a fanatic, so he is definitely like very dangerous. And then we see that Rayoden is trying to help the Elantrians because everyone there is just, you know, they have given up on like hope because they like no one knows why that happened, why they just became that way, and they have no hope of ever getting, you know, a real life, a good life. And Rayoden is trying to make them see that they can still have a life even if it's in that situation. And so he's trying to like rebuild, he's trying to clean the city, he's trying to like get crops to plant for them to, you know, have their own food, because the only way that the Elantrians get food is when there is like a newcomer, and like the newcomer has a basket of food with them. Like he's thrown in there with a basket of food, and that's the only time they receive food, because they technically don't need to eat because they're dead, but like I said, they're always hungry. And so he's trying to, you know, fix all that. And at the same time, Serene is trying to fix all the issues like with the other city, because it's a mess and everyone hates the king. He is terrible, like he sucks, and she's trying to fix all that. And one thing that she has to do is, or like she's expected to do, is a widow's trial. And it's basically like she has to help people somehow. And so she decides to like bring food to the Elantrians. And when she is, you know, in Elantris, she actually meets Rayoden, but like he recognizes her, but she doesn't recognize him because he looks, you know, dead. And yeah, he knows it's her, but she doesn't know it's him. But they do meet, and I'm very interested to see how that continues to go. And yeah, she's kind of ruining Raven's plan because he, like I said, wants people to see Elantrians as monsters and as like inhuman and as creatures that should not exist. And she's just, you know, feeding them and showing people that they're just people. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm not like fully obsessed with it, but I'm really enjoying it. Like since the 25% mark, I started like really enjoying it. The first 25%, I was confused and lost, but now I'm really liking it. And I really, really love Serene. She is definitely my favorite of the characters we're following. And like, not even just the characters, we're like following even like their friends, because Serene is like, now she's friends with the people that used to be Rayoden's friends. And Rayoden also has like a friend that I also really like in Elantris. And I also really do like Rayoden and absolutely hate Raven, and especially hate Dilaf. But like I'm supposed to. And yeah, I think this is such a cool concept. Like I was confused in the beginning, but I was very interested. Because yeah, like it's such a cool concept, a cool kind of like magic. And also like the way that the Elantrians used to do magic was like drawing some symbols, and the Elantrians now, like they can still draw them, like they learn how to do it and like they can do it, they appear, the symbols basically, but nothing happens, like there is no magic coming through. And yeah, like I've seen some people not love this because this is, I mean, I'm pretty sure it is this author's first book, and I've seen some people saying that like it's not that good, but actually I'm really liking it. Like I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm really invested. And yeah, I'm gonna finish it, and I might read the short story before I update you because it's like 20 pages long. So like I wouldn't have much to say about it, like just that alone. So I might read it and just update as I update the second half of this book. Okay, so I have finished Elantris, and I've also read The Hope of Elantris. After I last updated you, Rayoden makes discoveries about I think they call it aeons, which is like those symbols that they drew to make magic. And he finds out like what happened one time when someone like used an aeon and didn't like draw it correctly. And so like the magic wasn't like the thing wasn't finished until like the magic didn't like come out correctly, and the person that magic was used on became like their hair fell off and like their skin became like it was decaying, so that basically that person became the way that Elantrians are now. So Ryoden is pretty sure that whatever happened changed the way that the aeons have to be drawn now. And Raven, like that priest guy, he supposedly becomes an Elantrian, and he is taken to Elantris, and basically who's in charge now in the city, like in charge of the religious people, is Dilaf, which, like I said, way more fanatic than Raven and like way more dangerous. So Serene and her friends are definitely worried about that. But then Raven, after I think it was 3 days, or it was 5. I don't know, either 3 or 5. It was just a few days. He appears to have been magically cured, and he's no longer an Elantrian. Like his skin is looking healthy, his hair is growing back, and he supposedly was cured. But actually, we learned that he was never an Elantrian. He just like took a potion, an elixir, something that made him appear as an Elantrian, and then when the effect of that potion was over, he seemed to have been cured. And basically, he's saying that it was his religion that cured him of being an Elantrian. So that's his way of trying to convert people into his religion. And while that is happening, Serene finds the king like involved in some sacrificial rituals. And so people find out about what the king is doing, and then he kills himself, like the king kills himself, and now people need a new king. And basically, people chosen as the king will be like the richest person in the city, and they don't want that guy to be king because he also sucks. So Serene, like since the king died, her contract is no longer valid, like her marriage contract is no longer valid because, you know, he's not the king anymore, and that's why the contract mattered, was like while that guy was king. So she is technically not married, and so she is gonna marry like one of her like friends that used to be Raiden's friend as well, because he's really rich, and with her money, like the two of them together, they would be like the richest. So they're gonna marry to like be on the throne. And while they are, you know, they're about to get married, Serene is, you know, like walking down the aisle, and when I think it's like when like the guy lifts her veil, they see that she has become an Elantrian. And so they take her to Elantris. And first I was like, oh no. But then I was like, oh yes, she's gonna be with Rayoden, and that's gonna be really cool. Because they, like, their interactions were really good and really funny, and I really liked them together. And she was like, you know, in Elantris, and or even before she gets to Elantris, I'm not entirely sure. We see like a chapter from Raiden's POV, and we learn that he actually like kind of poisoned her with the same potion that he took, so she is not in fact an Elantrian. And then he contacts her father, and basically Serene's father agrees that like if Raiden manages to get Serene out of Elantris, like he'll convert to his religion, and if he converts, like his country kind of will convert with him. And then while Serene is in Elantris, she is like with Rayoden and the others, and she still doesn't know that like he is the guy that she was supposed to marry. And she is like basically telling him about the city outside of Elantris and how things are. And then she's also, magically cured after a few days. And so they realize that it was all a trick. And that what happened with Raiden must have been a trick as well. And, she leaves Elantris, obviously, because she's not one. And then Rayoden keeps studying the Aeons, and he realizes that the first thing that you draw when drawing an Aeon is kind of like the map of like the area, and something changed because there was, I don't know if it was like an earthquake or something, but like the land changed around the time that the powers of like the Elantrians and their curse changed. So he adds like an extra line to the Aeons, and it kind of works, but it doesn't fully fix it. And so after that, like it works enough for him to be able to like not really shapeshift, because it doesn't like actually shapeshift, but he appears different to the people that see him, like a mask, but like, full body different. And he goes to a meeting with Serene and like his old friends, and he reveals that he is Rayoden. And like when he makes that reveal of like who he is and showing his face, it's like his healthy face, not his Elantrian face. So like still a mask. And then they do find out that he is actually an Elantrian, and people still crown him king despite him being Elantrian. And when it seems that things are going well, the city is invaded, and it's invaded by those like people from like Raiden and Dilaf's religion, and they just start attacking everyone. And Dilaf is the one that was responsible for that invasion, and you also learn why he hated the Elantrians so much. And it's because his wife was that first person that I said became the way that Elantrians are now, like the one that the Aeon wasn't run correctly, so she became that way. That was his wife. And Raiden actually like fights against him because he went there to, save people, not kill them. So he actually is against Dilaf and like his religion's people. And then Rayoden actually learns how to fix the Aeons and the whole magic thing. And so it fixes everything, and his transformation into like a full Elantrian is finished. And like as is everyone's now, like everyone is an Elantrian the way that they used to be, with the magic and like kind of as gods. And Serene is caught by Dilaf, and like Rayoden goes there to save her, but he's actually not succeeding. So Raiden gets there and he kills Dilaf, but also ends up dying, which I thought was like a really good end for his character, because there was some kind of redemption, but he still died, and I didn't like him, so I thought that was actually perfect. And at the end, Serene and Rayoden actually get married, like for real, and he's still the king, and like Elantris is back into its full glory, and Elantrians are also like back into their full glory, and that is pretty much how it ended. So going into my final thoughts and starting off with the characters as I usually do, I really, really liked both Serene and Rayoden. They were both like very funny, very like iconic, very resourceful. And I also really like their like interactions with each other and their interactions with their friends as well. Like they were all very funny and at the same time very like heartwarming, and I really, really, really like both of them. And also the like Rayoden's friend that he made in Elantris, I also really, really liked him. And Raiden, I definitely hated him throughout most of the book. But like I said, I thought that his end was perfect. Like, I don't think it could have been better for me, the way that his arc ended. I thought it was perfect. And Dilef, I just hated the whole way through, and I'm also very glad that he died in the way that he died, because that's definitely also what I wanted for him. And yeah, I was invested from page one because this is such an interesting and cool concept, and like the world and the magic system was so interesting and so like different from any book that I've read. And I also thought like the pacing was really good and the plot was really good, and I also really liked the characters and I really connected to them, especially Serini and Rayoden. I absolutely love them, and it's definitely fun that it was, a standalone book. Like there is a short story after, but it's just one book, not like three or four, 800-page books. And yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars because it didn't give me like the 5-star feeling, but other than that, like I absolutely loved it. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. And then The Hope of Elantris was very, very, very short. It was like 20, 25 pages long. And we start with Rayonen, and like we learned that Serini is pregnant, so it has some time has passed, obviously. And Rayoden is asking someone who was like in Elantris at the time of like the invasion at the end of Elantris, like how it went in there. And so basically what we see is like how the invasion and how like the restoration of the Elantrian powers went through the POV of someone who was in Elantris, which is really interesting. And I also really like the character that we were following there. And like I really enjoyed it because it was so, so, so short, but it was definitely fun, and it was really cool to see things from a different perspective in a different place. And yeah, also really enjoy that one. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars because I did really enjoy it, but also it was so short that I didn't like connect that much, but it was still really, really fun. So yeah, I'm probably gonna give it 4 stars. And then I'm gonna read The Emperor's Soul, which at first I thought was like actually like connected to Elantris, as in like part of the same series. But now I think it's just like set in the same world, but not actually really connected to Elantris. But I'm gonna read it anyway, because like, why not? And it's a novella, it's less than 200 pages. So I'm gonna read that, and I will get back to you with my thoughts on that, and also to just wrap up this vlog. Okay, so I have read The Emperor's Soul, and it is in fact not actually connected to Elantris. It's just set in the same world, but the stories are not connected and the characters are not connected. But we were following Shy, I think that is how you say her name. And she is a forger, and she is in jail actually. And being a forger is like her kind of magic. Like she can change like materials into other materials, and she can like change things into other things. And she like makes art forgeries, which is like why she is in jail, because she stole something. And the emperor of that lands was attacked, and like his wife was killed, and he wasn't killed, but like he was like really badly hurt. And they were able to heal his body but not his mind. And so the empress people, they hire, I mean, they don't really hire Shy, they tell her that if she does that she will get her freedom. And basically what she has to do is to forge the emperor's mind, like forge a brain for him basically. And she has 100 days to do that, and she said that that would take like months, years, but she has 100 days. And so we follow her for those 100 days, and we see her, learning about the emperor and like, his personality, what he liked, his past, to try to forge his mind. And we also see her getting closer to one of the men that works for the emperor, and she's pretty sure that they were actually not gonna, let her go free. They were just gonna kill her once she finished the job. So she decides to run away, like towards the end of the 100 days. But she wants her like work to be on display, and she wants to know that she did it. So she finishes like the emperor's mind, the emperor's soul, because she wants to know that the emperor has the soul that she created. And so yeah, she finishes that, and the guy that works for the emperor that she got close to, like, she actually, lets her run away. And yeah, she gains her freedom. She's free. She does the thing. She accomplishes the goal. And that is pretty much what happened. And yeah, it was pretty short. It was less than 200 pages, but it was pretty fun. Like, before I started reading it, I thought it was connected to Elantris, and then I was like kind of disappointed when I found out that it wasn't. But actually, like, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I really like the characters. They were definitely very interesting, especially Shy, who we really got to know. But I also really liked the magic system. It was definitely a very interesting kind of magic. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I was definitely worried for Shy, and then I was really happy and relieved that she managed to escape alive and with her freedom. And I think I'm gonna give this one also 4 stars, because I also really enjoyed this one and I also had a lot of fun with it. And so yeah, that's it. Those are all the books for this reading vlog. And I had a lot of fun. They were definitely better than like my expectations. So I am really happy with how it went, especially Elantris. Like, it was really, really, really good. I really loved it. And yeah, that is everything for this vlog. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!